The beautiful Jeanne Crain has a very interesting story. Not too many people know about her, but she was an icon and a legend in her era. In this era, not too many people know about her, but best believe in her era, she was that girl. One of the things that pops out about Jeanne Crain to me that I want to revisit in this era is that casting was relatively easy for actress Jeanne Crain. She was white and got an Oscar nomination as a Best Actress for pretending to be black. We're going to get into this video, and I do want to give a disclaimer that I at all do not blame Jeanne Crain for this. I say this all the time. The golden age of Hollywood, a lot of these actresses and actors didn't have much of a say-so. The contracts were stiff. The golden age of Hollywood was new. I feel like I always got to keep reiterating that in these videos because there's always people in the comment that's not giving grace to the actresses and actors and just seeing it as, oh, they chose willingly. It's like, now we know about Hollywood. Now we have access to knowledge and to see behind the scenes that if someone still wants to be famous, still wants to be in Hollywood and participate in these things, then they made a choice. I don't have to have sympathy for that person. But in the golden age of Hollywood, Hollywood was new. And a lot of these actresses and actors did not know what they were signing up for. They didn't understand the culture. And especially if you were a woman, there was really no advocacy for you. And you really couldn't fight for a role that you didn't want to do. A lot of these actresses didn't really want to do these roles, but the studios would send the mafia after them, threaten them very badly. They couldn't say no. And if you rejected a role, you get blackballed and you kicked out of the industry. And for a lot of them, they were just so big of stars that they couldn't even imagine going back being regular because it was a danger to them. Now, if I just go into the regular workforce with everyone recognizing me and knowing who I am, can you imagine Brad Pitt now working at Target or something? That would be crazy, right? I just want you guys to have a little sympathy. So it's not that I'm taking up for them at all. It's just understand the time and the culture, the newness of Hollywood and television. Television was still pretty new. Television wasn't something that was in every household at that time either. It was still pretty new. People were going to the theaters a lot if they wanted to watch anything on a screen. They had to go to the theaters. So consider that. Well, we'll talk about all of this and more. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Karine Alourde, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars to history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. But let's start from the very beginning before we get to the scandal of it all, which is her childhood. There wasn't much pictures of her as a child or anything like that, but on a sunny day in Barstow, California, on May 25th, 1925, a star was born. This star was none other than Jeanne Elizabeth Crain, the daughter of George A. Crain, a high school English teacher, and Loretta Carr. Both of Crain's parents were devout Roman Catholics with Irish roots. However, the family soon relocated to Inglewood, California, only to witness a heartbreaking divorce between George and Loretta in 1934. This led to Jeanne and her mother setting up a new home in Los Angeles. And at the tender age of 14, Jeanne began to shine, landing leading roles in school plays and winning beauty contests at 15. Her father, head of the English department at Inglewood High School, must have been proud. Jeanne was a whirlwind of activity, partaking in the Girls' League, senior play class, and various theatrical productions. She even earned the title of Grid Queen. But it wasn't just acting that caught her fancy. She was also a passionate ice skater. While still in high school, she was invited to take a screen test with the legendary Orson Welles. Even though she didn't land the part, it was a stepping stone towards her future career. Post-high school, Jeanne enrolled at UCLA to hone her acting skills. At 18, she made her film debut in The Gang's All Here, albeit a minor role, but by 19, she was already playing a substantial role in films like the romantic drama Home in Indiana. Crain's career took off like a rocket. She graced the scenes in numerous films such as In the Meantime, Darling, State Fair, Leave Her to Heaven, Centennial Summer, Margie, Apartment for Peggy, A Letter to Three Wives, Cheaper by the Dozen, People Will Talk, Men Without a Star, Gentlemen Marry Brunette, The Fastest Gun Alive, and The Joker is Wild. However, it was her role in Pinky that bought her an Academy Award nomination for Best Actress. The film was a commercial success, but stirred controversy due to its story of a light-skinned African-American woman passing as white in the northern United States. Despite considering black actresses like Lena Horne, producer Daryl F. Zanuck opted for a white actress, fearing racial backlash. So a lot of people wanted Lena Horne to do it, and I did a video for Lena Horne because she was a black woman that actually looked white, but she was a proud black woman and wanted to be black, in a time where she could have easily passed as exotic or from somewhere else. They just was like, listen, if the public, who was very bigoted at the time, knew that this was an actual black woman playing this role, the film wouldn't be as popular and it would quickly become a black film. And there had to be a divide, because if there's even one lead in a movie that was black back in those days, even if all the rest of the cast was white, the movie would soon be called a black film, and it just wouldn't get the promotions that was necessary. So the director was like, hey, it's because the film was fantastic. Like, let's not take away from that. But,
What am I then? You tell me. You're the ones that set the standards, you whites. You're the ones that judge people by the color of their skins. Well, by your own standards, by the only ones that matter to you, I'm as white as you are.
So Pinky softened the harsh reality of racism in the Deep South, presenting a surprisingly well outcome for the young black woman who appears white. The film boldly confronted societal norms, showcasing the contrasting lives of whites and blacks in America, while providing a palatable way for society to face its demons. Crain's portrayal may seem bizarre and a little cringeworthy from a modern perspective watching it today, but I guess during that era it wasn't. Her performance often appearing, bored and lackluster, if I may. So her appearance may not have fully captured the emotional depth of a black woman battling self-hate and discrimination. Yet, despite the inappropriate casting, Crain made an attempt at a complex, multifaceted role. In retrospect, Pinky remains a classic movie with themes still relevant today, offering a necessary commentary on interracial unions during that time, legal justice for blacks, and leveling the playing field in society. It was a good film, but the emotion was missing, and I didn't expect her to have emotion because she honestly, truly could not relate, So I'm not gonna be too hard on her for that, but for what it was for that era, was seen as a controversial film, although she won a nomination for the Oscar for that, because the message was pretty bold and clear. But also critics criticized the movie because it was like they still made her life look pretty easy. Like everything worked out well for her when her man, whom she lied to while she was pretending to be white, found out she was black and still loved her and was and she ended up being rich, and the white people was favoring her in the end. It was like, that's not reality. Usually when people find out you lied about passing, you lose everything and no one wants to do anything with you. So it didn't really show the true reality, but there was still a good message in there. Crain appeared in fewer films in the 1960s as she entered a semi-retirement. She starred as Nefertiti in the Italian production of Nefertiti, Queen of the Nile, passing as black again. Here's why this was a problem. Yeah, I'm about to go a little far, but walk with me and comment below your thoughts and be a little open-minded, okay? So in 1974, Sheikh Anta Diop described Nefertiti as being typically Negroid. Queen Nefertiti and her son King Tut were born into Egypt's 18th dynasty. This line of rulers was one of the most renowned royal families in human history. Genetic and sculptural evidence clearly shows that this family was of black origin. This was proven in 2012. DNA Tribes Our Digest published the results of their examination of the mummies of King Tut, his mother, father, paternal grandparents, and paternal great-grandparents. In the case of Nefertiti, 82% of her genetic markers match current populations of 4 regions in sub-Saharan Africa, while 96% of King Tut's genetic markers match the same populations. The populations of sub-Saharan Africa are overwhelmingly black. Now, the crazy thing is, I'm not saying all of this to be extra or weird, okay? Walk with me. When you do a big budget film, no matter in what country, a lot goes into making that film. They hire historians to make sure things are factually correct, renowned costume designers to make sure the costumes the actors are wearing match the era they are portraying, and even experts in psychology and human emotion to help the actors really dig deep into their role. So unless the movie or the film is a fantasy film where things don't have to be historically correct and costume designers have a little more leeway with what costumes they're going to wear, most directors and scriptwriters know the work that goes into these films for them to be considered Oscar worthy or worthy of awards like the Palme d'Or and stuff like that, right? What makes the difference between an Oscar worthy film and a regular film is the attention to detail. Okay, when you watch the Oscars, this is why I say don't skip the categories. Look at who wins Best Costume Design, Best Musical Score and Cinematography, Sound Engineers, etc. Everything has to be historically aligned. Even the music that is being played in the film. If you're doing a film in the 1800s, you can't have Beyonce playing in the background. It just wouldn't make sense. The music have to match the era and everything. That's how they judge these films. It's not just based off, oh, did you like the movie? Oh, yeah, great. You liked the movie, so it should have won an Oscar. But they look at all those details with the outfits. Does it have cultural significance? And that's why the best of the best costume designers are ones that actually go study the history of that time to make sure everything is correct. Set designers also, lighting. If you're acting out a scene in a desert, but in real life you are in a studio in front of a green screen, the audio engineers have to recreate the sounds of a real desert, winds, animals, bugs, etc. That really brings the scene to life. If it sounds out of sync or inaccurate with sounds of tropical birds in a desert, for instance, you're looking at a desert but you hear tropical birds, an expert in animals might catch that and it throws the whole film off and then it looks lazy, right? That is not an award-worthy film and the engineer won't ever be up for an Oscar. And if you make a faux pas like that and the public catches it, no one will hire you to work on their future film, right? So I say all of this to say that these people know exactly what they are doing when they cast white women and white men for roles of color. I don't care in what decade. The average person may not know much about history, but it's their job, these directors, etc., the scriptwriters, to know, and yet they still consciously choose to not cast people of color for roles that are meant for people of color. Do you see the problem? So my simple research on Nefertiti was easy to find, right? Why people were so outraged. Why was the Black community so outraged with some of these films that were coming out? It was easy for me to just see, okay, historically it was believed that this was supposed to be a Black character, or this script clearly says someone should be passing. Even in the film Pinky, they made it still like rose-colored glasses, where the person, whoever did the film, did not really do their research to see just how difficult it was for someone to pass and all the anguish that came with it, etc. They still told the story from a white point of view. It's because white people simply did not care in that era for it to be accurate. So they didn't feel the need to. Do you see how lazy it is that she was nominated for an Oscar in this role? Because it was lazy in that sense, right? My research was so easy to find. So imagine someone with unlimited resources. It was done on purpose, and these actors didn't boycott or cared either. They played Asians, Latinos, Middle Easterners, and Blacks without any consequences. I did my Deborah Paget video, which I want you guys to check out too, where she was playing an Indian princess, she was playing a Native American, she was playing an Asian. She just went through every role possible and she hated it. She would speak out about it, but that's what they cast her. They would darken her skin. They rather make you look like the ethnic group rather than giving someone the opportunity to. And the public just didn't care enough to even be outraged. And this is why if stuff like this happened today, people think, oh, you're being so sensitive. This is a sensitive generation. It's just a movie. It's just this when people want things to be accurate. No, if you are in the industry, you know what it takes to make a film and how accurate, how much money is spent on getting the right stuff, having the right group of people to work, the right team to work on a film. That when something is just a lazy production, it's almost a slap in the face for a lazy production to get an Oscar, to be nominated, or to be seen as a big budget film when they get it wrong and they don't even try their best to get people that actually know what they're talking about. Oh, it used to be so bad that even in the days of Shakespeare, men were the ones playing feminine roles, like the roles of women. Women weren't in theater like that. But eventually, women started boycotting. A lot of women just, hey, we don't like that. We want to portray ourselves. We want to da-da-da. They fought for that. And now you have women, not only in TV, actresses, Broadway, all of that. They're doing it because women didn't want a man playing their role. You just couldn't evoke the same emotions. After a while, it got lame. You see why a lot of people just fight for that? Like, if you're going to portray us, do it right. Do it right or don't do it at all. I don't know how else to explain it to make you see it, but just imagine if you could see behind the scenes how much work gets put into making a film and how much resources they spend on just hiring experts that actually know, and then to see them still boldly decide, okay, we know this is the facts, but this is what we want to do anyways. You can see how that's hurtful, right? But on a lighter note, let's get into her beauty secret, because that was pretty heavy. And like I said, I do not blame her for this. I really don't, because I doubt, she had much of a say-so. These movies were made in the 50s, and the 50s was just some difficult times. Can you imagine? It was not that long ago. It was not that long ago. It hasn't even been 100 years, but it was some very difficult time. But let's do a quick beauty segment to lighten the mood. Okay, so Jeanne Crain's beauty was so captivating that it could rival the allure of the celebrated Jeanne Tierney. They were strikingly similar, not just in their breathtaking looks, but also in their beauty regimens. In 1954, our beloved beauty journalist, Lydia Lane, had the rare opportunity to unravel the secrets behind Crain's beauty. Intrigued by her flawless figure, Lydia couldn't help but ask if maintaining such a physique required strenuous effort. With a serene smile, Crain responded, "It isn't that you have to do so much, but you have to be faithful. You have to make your exercise routine a part of your daily living as much of a habit as brushing your teeth." She then shared her morning ritual, advising, "When you wake up in the morning, learn to stretch. Feel yourself pulling one leg, then another. Wiggle your shoulders, stretch your arms, get the kinks out of your muscles as naturally as a dog or cat does after a nap." Crain's secrets for staying in shape went beyond typical workout routines. "There are many ways to reduce," she continued, "but my favorite is with tension-type exercises. These build a long, lean line, not a naughty bulge. It's a matter of stretching followed by relaxation. This brings up the circulation so that nature can help you." End quote. When it came to nutrition, Crain was a frequent tea drinker and a strong advocate of portion control. She ensured her meals were abundant in fruits and vegetables while consciously avoiding fried and greasy foods. Her stunning hair, a blend of dark brown and red hues, added depth to her striking eyes, and as years rolled on, she embraced shorter hairstyles, adding a fresh twist to her timeless beauty. Crain had a unique philosophy on makeup too. She loved a bold red lipstick and believed that makeup should never make you look like a completely different person, but it should instead complement how you already look. A dash of rouge on her cheeks and fuller eyebrows, which she thought made a woman look more youthful, completed her enchanting look. Away from the glitz and glamour, Crain was an advocate of simplicity. She preferred comfortable and simple attire, allowing her natural beauty to take center stage. But when the red carpet rolled out, she transformed into a vision of elegance. Draped in elaborate gowns with her hair styled to perfection, Crain was a showstopper who commanded attention and left a lasting impression. But Jeanne, the real Jeanne, wears simple, unpretentious clothes, drove her older Chrysler sedan, and lived in a low-slung, uncluttered, glass-walled modern house. The library in her home was filled with good books, mostly about art, and when she talks, it was with intelligence and authority. Jeanne Crain's beauty secrets, from her exercise regimen to her diet and fashion choices, reflect a woman who valued balance, simplicity, and natural elegance. Her dedication to maintaining her stunning looks, coupled with her unique approach to beauty and style, solidified her status as one of Hollywood's unforgettable stars. Now, in the glitzy universe of Hollywood in the late 1940s and early 1950s, Jeanne Crain shone brighter than most stars. She was dubbed as Hollywood's #1 party girl and relished in the spotlight. Crain herself once said that she was invited to at least 200 parties a year, a testament to her popularity and vivacious social life. However, beneath the glittering facade of stardom, Crain's personal life was a whirlwind of drama. On the last day of 1945, she defied her mother's wishes and married Paul Brinkman, a former contract player at RKO Pictures, credited as Paul Brooks. Brinkman later ascended the corporate ladder to become a top executive at an arms manufacturing firm. The couple expanded their family with 7 children, adding to their picture-perfect image. But as the mid-1950s rolled around, their marriage hit turbulent waters. Amidst allegations of infidelity from both sides and claims of abuse from Crain, the couple obtained a divorce decree, and despite the stormy circumstances, a close friend insisted, no matter what they say, those two loved each other. They'll go back together sooner or later. Others were less hopeful, citing the emotional trauma and Crain's religious beliefs as potential hurdles to reconciliation. Defying all odds, Crain and Brinkman reconciled on the last day of 1956. This turn of events was attributed to Brinkman's persistent effort to win Crain back, as Crain confessed to a friend weeks before their reunion, "I've gotten more red roses from Paul this month than in the last 5 years of our marriage. If Paul wants to date me and court me a little, it's all right with me," end quote. Despite their reunion and the birth of 3 more children, their marriage was far from a fairy tale. Crain's granddaughter revealed that Brinkman was a serial cheater who boasted about his affairs even in front of his grandchildren. Crain's mother had always believed her daughter made a grave mistake by marrying Brinkman, even going as far as physically expressing her disapproval on their wedding day by hitting him like she hit him. The family's dislike for him was unbearable, yet Crain, a devout Catholic, chose not to believe in divorce and stayed with Brinkman. Crain and Brinkman remained married but lived separately in Santa Barbara County, maintaining an amicable relationship with monthly visits and special occasions. Brinkman passed away in October 2003, leaving Crain a widow. Tragically, Crain suffered a heart attack and died just 2 months later. Her funeral mass was held at the Santa Barbara Mission, and she was buried next to her husband under the name Jeanne Crain Brinkman. So they never did end the relationship. And wow, what a story, right? It is a beautiful woman. Still leave flowers for her in the comments. Like I said, again, I really do not blame her for any of this, none of these stars. Check out my Deborah Paget video, as well as my Donna Drake video if you haven't seen those yet. And comment below who else would you guys like a video from. If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.